Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we have a little bit of a special video. Those of you who have been playing Magic for a while know that Mark Rosewater, aka Maro, always does a list of teasers leading into spoiler season for every set. And we finally got Maro's teasers, and we're going to go over all of the juicy little tidbits that he brought up in this post. If you can think of any crazy ideas or possibilities that some of these teasers are hinting at, definitely let me know in the comments below. But we're going to see what we can come up with here. So first of all, Maro's AETHERDRIFT teaser. Before previews for AETHERDRIFT officially begin, I thought it would be fun to do another of my Duelist style teasers where I give tiny hints of things to come. Note that I'm only giving you partial information. The reason he references Duelist is because Duelist was a magazine back in the day that Magic the Gathering was in, and he would always write these columns for that magazine, which is really cool. So first up, here are some things you can expect. A 13/13 vehicle with Crew 2 that costs 1 mana to cast. I feel like this is some sort of a Phyrexian Dreadnought, some sort of Dreadnought style thing, except in the style of a vehicle. Not entirely sure exactly how this is going to work, but obviously if it's a 13/13 that only crews for 2 and only costs 1 mana, there's going to be a huge downside, some kind of con to playing this, some sort of maybe requirement or prerequisite you have to meet other than the obvious 1 mana and crew 2, because 13/13 is kind of insane. But I'm excited to see where this goes and how crazy it ends up being. Does the downside end up being so crazy that we can't actually use it? It doesn't end up being competitive enough? We'll have to wait and see. Also, apparently there's a mechanic called Start Your Engines, which probably has something to do with vehicles. Maybe it lets your vehicles gain haste, or maybe it's a way to crew your vehicles without actually having to crew your vehicles. Honestly, it could be anything. It definitely has to have something to do with vehicles, right? Or maybe pilots, or something with pilots and vehicles. I'm really not sure. Let me know if you have ideas in the comments. Next up, we've got 3 planeswalkers native to one of the worlds visited, and 1 non-native, all get a desparked legendary creature version. So that's 4 legendary creatures for creatures that used to be planeswalkers that no longer have their sparks, and 3 of them are from one of the worlds visited, which could be Avishkar, aka Kaladesh, or Amonkhet, or Muruganda, I believe are the 3 planes that we're in. We haven't really seen Muruganda yet, so it's not going to necessarily be there. It's either going to be Amonkhet or Kaladesh, aka Avishkar. If you guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments which planeswalkers have been native to either of those planes that you think could be making an appearance here as a legendary creature. I think Chandra, Nissa might be obvious. I know some of the story has to do with Chandra and Nissa. I think Chandra was specifically racing to try and get the spark back for Nissa. There's a lot of different directions they could go, but it's interesting that we're going to get a bunch of legendary creatures at least. And next up is a cycle of vanilla legendary creatures, which seems interesting. For those of you who don't know, a vanilla creature just means no text box whatsoever, completely plain. So if they're legendary, then they're going to have to be above rate as far as their power toughness compared to what their cost is. And that's actually kind of interesting, getting a cycle of 5 different creatures that are going to be way above rate power and toughness wise compared to their cost. There are plenty of decks that could make use of something like that. Should be pretty interesting. Next up, we've got cat and dog mounts. I'm just excited that mounts are coming back. I was worried that maybe vehicles would be such a focus in this set, there wouldn't be any room for mounts at all. But mounts can be raced, right? You can race a horse, you can race whatever, and apparently you can also race cats and dogs. We already saw some pretty good push into cat tribal in Foundations recently, so being able to take that to the next level, maybe cross-pollinate those synergies with mounts and vehicles and that sort of thing seems interesting. And dogs. I love dogs. I have 3 dogs. But next up, we've got an old god returns, and new gods are introduced. Now, this is obviously going to be something to do with Amonkhet. There were gods on Amonkhet. They were kind of a centerpiece of that plane. I'm not really sure which specific old god returns. He's very quick to point out here that it's just one old god returns, but there are many new gods. So, what could be the only one old god that would still come back? That's still relevant in the story. If you have an idea about that, let me know in the comments. But the new gods are really interesting. My theory here is that maybe there's a cycle and we get an old god coming back from one color, and then each of the other 4 colors get a new god. But it could go so many different directions. It might not be a cycle. They could be multicolor gods. There's a lot of different directions it could go. So, really interested to see that. And then the last thing that's noted here in this section is a new Lotus. Now, I get a little worried when I see that because most of the Lotus cards that we've seen over the years have been kind of bad. I think the last really good one was Lotus Petal, which was 0 cost, sacrifice, and make a mana of any color. But most of the Lotuses we've seen in recent years are a bit too expensive. We got an equipment one, I believe, in the big score that wasn't super great. Really interested to see if this ends up being any good. I feel like with how bad the different Lotus variations we've got over the last few years have been, maybe it's about time to actually get a decent one that might be usable in a competitive deck. So I am a little bit optimistic about this, that maybe it's something that's a little bit better than we're used to getting. Maybe they're going to subvert our expectations a little bit and finally give us a new Lotus that's actually pretty good. Is it going to be a Lotus car? Maybe? A Lotus vehicle of some sort? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But there's also a cycle of multicolored Gear Hulks. Now, we already saw the first one, the Selesnya one, which when you play it, you can search up 2 1-drops and put them into your hand. And that seems kinda gnarly. I have a feeling there's going to be a crazy new Trinket-style deck that we can make with that one. But it's nice to see that we're getting an entire cycle of multicolored Gear Hulks. Are we going to get just 5? Are they going to be just allied color? Or are we going to get 10 different Gear Hulks and get every ally and enemy color variation? Maybe that's wishful thinking on my part. I would love to see that, but I think at the very least we're going to see, you know, that cycle of 5 allied color multicolored Gear Hulks, and super interested to see. Also, this is kind of confirmation that not only are vehicles coming back in a big way, but honestly artifacts in general. Everything that they're listing already points to artifacts in general coming back in a big way, and we actually have some really interesting stuff in Standard right now, which allows for some pretty crazy artifact synergies, and if we can get a set that can just push that kind of over the top, we could have some pretty crazy artifact decks, so I'm pretty excited about seeing where that goes. Next up, numerous mechanics from the worlds visited get cameos. So that means there are going to be mechanics in this set that were originally in Amonkhet sets or in Avishkar, Kaladesh sets that are going to be in this set, but not as a full fleshed out mechanic on a bunch of different cards. It'll just be one-offs. One card will get this ability, one card will get that mechanic, that sort of thing. I don't think Energy is going to be one of those cameos. If Energy is in this set at all, it's going to be a core mechanic for sure, because you need things that enable it, and you need things that make use of that enabling. Those cards that deal with energy are too hyper dependent on multiple cards and overlapping synergies there, so it definitely wouldn't be that. But you could see things like Revolt and stuff like that make their way into this set as one-offs. If you have any ideas about what that could possibly be, any crazy ideas about some of the mechanics from past Amonkhet sets, past Kaladesh sets that could be coming back here, as a cameo specifically, again, Energy is a good example of what wouldn't be a cameo. So try and think of an idea of what would be a cameo, what could actually work as a one-off. Let me know in the comments, because I think there are some really cool, interesting opportunities there. Also, there's a new vehicle artifact token. This has me super interested because now we can create vehicles that will count as tokens and trigger things like Caretaker's Talent, which just seems awesome to me. What could it be? There's no way there's going to be a 1/1 vehicle, right? That would be pointless. Well, I guess it wouldn't be completely pointless. You could keep crewing it for 1 and not risk your actual creature, so that if it dies in combat, you still have your creature, so it wouldn't be completely useless. But I'm guessing it's more something along the lines of a 2/2 vanilla vehicle that just crews for 1. So one of your 1-power creatures could crew up a 2/2 and swing effectively as a 2/2. That's kind of my guess. That does seem a little bit powerful. Getting, you know, just artifact tokens onto the battlefield that you can use for artifact synergies seems good. Token synergies, like I said, with Caretaker's Talent, stuff like that. All of that stuff factors in to the fact that, you know, alongside the fact that it's going to be like a 2/2 when you crew it or whatever it's going to be. So I guess maybe there's a possibility they are 1/1s. That seems less interesting, although it does let you keep, you know, your guys somewhat protected and not have to put them in the line of fire. Gives you chump blockers, that kind of thing. But I think it would be way more interesting if they're 2/2s. Probably going to be more expensive if they are, the things that make these tokens, but super interested to see where that goes, especially because we've already seen that there are some synergies that just care about vehicles in general in this set. We got the first card that dropped the other day, which was a vehicle Lifecraft engine, I believe it was called, a vehicle that counts as a creature type of your choice when it comes into play, and then all vehicles that you control also become that creature type, and it gives +1/+1 to things that are that creature type. So pretty interesting. You'll be able to turn all of your vehicle artifact tokens into whatever tribe you want, and kind of go ham with synergies. Seems like there's a lot of potential here for this specific mechanic. But next up, here are some rules text that will be showing up on cards. First one, this creature saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles using its toughness rather than its power. This is only going to appear on one card. This is kind of interesting. This allows you to play something with a high toughness early to kind of stop aggro in its tracks, and then still be able to effectively crew things, saddle things that have a much higher crew or saddle cost. And I kind of like that concept, so hopefully the finished card ends up as good as what I'm picturing in my head. Also, the next one, whenever you draw a card, each opponent mills 2 cards. This is going to make me cringe. Is mill coming back in a big way? We've been mostly safe from mill ever since, you know, the mill ninja days, the mill landfall crabs, the ruin crab, and all of that. Ever since all that stuff was out of standard, we've been a little bit safe. Are we not safe anymore? Is mill going to come back as an actual powerful meta option in standard? God, I hope not. Being able to mill 2 cards every time you draw a card. Terrifying. Terrifying. We'll have to wait and see. The next one is other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. So dinosaur tribals coming back, I guess. I think that's actually one of the highlights of Muraganda, which is the new plane out of the 3 planes that we haven't really been to much. And I think there are a bunch of dinosaurs there. So bringing back some dinosaur synergies to go with, you know, some of the Ixalan stuff that we still have around. Dinosaurs could end up being a very competitive deck moving forward, so exciting to see that. The next one, whenever a player casts a spell they don't own. Interesting. So there are going to be ways to cast each other's spells. Granted, this is a card that probably stops that or gets some kind of value to put emphasis on trying to not do that thing, I would guess. But hard to say. It would be pretty interesting if there is an actual core mechanic within the set on a bunch of cards that let you cast each other's stuff somehow. Pretty exciting to see where that one goes. The next one here is tap, add 1 red for each goblin you control. So you're telling me we're getting a Goblin Priest of Titania. That is terrifying. Goblins are already looking like they're primed for a comeback. We have some really interesting tools in Standard right now, and I feel like we're just waiting for that little extra push of power to really make them viable. This could absolutely do it. I mean, this might not even be a creature. This could be an artifact, this could be a vehicle, this could be a land that does this. I don't think they'd be that crazy, but man, could you imagine if it's a land, safe from creature removal, and just go ham on making a ton of mana? I am absolutely terrified at whatever that card ends up being, but let's move on. The next one is, during turns other than yours, this vehicle is an artifact creature. That's pretty interesting too. If you want to attack with it, you have to crew it. But you don't have to crew it to block with it. You can just leave it there, say go, and start throwing it in front of your opponent's creatures regardless of crewing it. That means it must have some kind of crazy big benefit when attacking. Like when it attacks, draw a card, or it's probably nothing that crazy, but there has to be something that incentivizes you to use it as an attacker rather than a blocker, since it's a lot harder to use as an attacker, if that makes any sense. So I'm interested to see what kind of triggers we can get. Or maybe it's something as simple as it just having vigilance, right? And it can attack if you crew it, and no matter what, it can block because of the vigilance. That would be pretty cool too. So excited to see where that one goes. Next up, whenever you activate an exhaust ability, draw a card. Now, I like that exhaust thematically goes with vehicles, goes with cars. But also, when you think about the meaning of exhaust, to completely run out of something, when you exhaust your supplies, you exhaust your resources, right? So it makes me wonder if it's maybe some kind of new version of exert. Maybe it's exert for vehicles or something like that. But I don't feel like it's as simple as being the exact same thing as exert for vehicles. It's probably taking exert to the next level. Like, it never untaps ever if you use the exhaust ability, but it gives you some kind of crazy value. Just like exert turned up to 11. I don't know. It could be anything. Let me know what you think it is down in the comments for sure. But next up, we've got put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Don't we have enough of these in Standard already? This is like a new Ghalta, I guess. It might even actually be a new Ghalta. No, it wouldn't actually be Ghalta, right? But it could be a dinosaur thing because of Muruganda and all of that. I hope it's something interesting and unique, whatever it is. Done in a different way, because we've gotten a few of these cards recently, and like, they're powerful, but I don't know, kind of boring in my opinion. So I hope they do some kind of a new twist with this one and make it really cool. The next thing here is, whenever you attack, if a pirate and a vehicle attacked this combat, who knows what, something happens. Pretty interesting that it cares about both pirates and vehicles attacking. This seems like another prime candidate for like Lifecraft engine naming pirate, so all your vehicles become pirates. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we'll have to see the wording on the actual card, but I'm pretty sure if you do that, you only really need to attack with one vehicle that is also a pirate, and it will count for both of these conditions. Not 100% sure there, but I am pretty happy to see Pirate Tribal getting some love. I feel like Pirate Tribal is like on the cusp of being really, really insane. It's got a lot of powerful tools in it, and it's just not quite there yet. This set might take it there. Next up, we've got creatures you control. Creatures you control have base power and toughness 6/6 and are oozes in addition to their other types. I would like oozes. There have been some interesting, only a few, but some interesting ooze cards in Standard lately. Especially that one where you can have as many copies as you want in the deck, and you make an ooze for however many are in graveyard and exile. So your oozes just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Could Ooze Tribal be a real thing? Can we maybe use that card in conjunction with whatever this card is? Base power and toughness 6/6. I'm pretty sure those creatures were 0/0s and got counters, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this could turn them. This could buff up all of those oozes by +6/+6 in a way. If their base power and toughness is 0/0, that could be pretty sick. You could also use the Lifecraft engine, name oozes, to anthem all of your oozes too. Seems like there's some cool potential. Man, I'm really hoping we get Ooze Tribal and it's actually, like, legitimate and realistic to pull off. I just think that would be so fun. Next up, we've got some creature type lines from the set. The first of which is Seal Pirate. Kiss from a Rose. My goodness. I don't think we've ever got a seal. I don't think we've ever got a seal in Magic before. That's pretty interesting. But again, it's another pirate. We've got a Lizard Berserker, so we can expect to see a little bit of Lizard Tribal support. Maybe some of that Bloomburrow synergy is going to come back in a big way. We've also got Insect Archer. We know we have some Insect Tribal support right now. That one Duskmourn card, I believe it's called the Swarm Weaver, buffs up insects and I think gives them Death Touch. So it's cool seeing insects come as well. Core Pilot. That has me excited. Not only does that confirm that pilots will be coming back in this, and make it way easier to crew vehicles and all that good stuff, but cores. We're going to see more core creature types, which we just got Ballyrush Banneret in Foundations, which makes all of your core and soldier creatures cost one less to play. So whatever this is will cost one less to play if you have a Ballyrush Banneret out. And if we see a decent, sizable number of core creatures that are actually, you know, somewhat competitive, that deck could be a real thing. So, pretty cool. Next up, we've got Robot Turtle. Specifically, Artifact Creature Robot Turtle. I don't think we've ever got a robot before. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure every robot type card we've got in the past have actually been construct creature types. If I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comments. But getting our first official robot here, I feel like this is kind of dipping their toe in and testing the waters for when Edge of Eternities comes out later this year, which is going to be like that space opera sci-fi set. If they can put a robot out ahead of time, or maybe even a couple, breadcrumb them along the way, by the time that set comes out, they can put a bunch of robots in it, and it won't feel completely foreign. So pretty cool that that's happening. Next up, we've got an Ape Druid. It's been a while since we got an ape, and it's a druid. Cool. Also, Zombie Cat Knight. Zombie Cat Knight. So it could be a zombie tribal, it could be in cat tribal. Even Night Tribal is kind of a thing, although it's sort of dropped off and people forgot about it. Interesting. I'm happy to see zombie cats. Give me more zombie cats. Vidalcan Ranger. That seems kind of cool. Dinosaur Dragon Mount. That has me all sorts of excited. Dinosaur Tribal, Dragon Tribal, and also it's a mount? I want to see some crazy flying dinosaur that you can ride. Yes, this is exciting. Also a legendary creature, Aetherborn Rogue. I wonder if this is a new version of a past legendary creature. Have there been any legendary creatures in the past that were Aetherborn specifically? Let me know in the comments, because this could be a sign that a creature like that's coming back. Finally, here are some names in the set. Adrenaline Jockey. Alright, that's probably a pilot. Flood the Engine. I assume that, like, taps all vehicles or returns them all to hand or something like that. We've got Gas Guzzler. Double all crew costs, maybe? Or something crazy like that? I don't know. Maximum Overdrive. I don't know what that is, but I'm excited because I'm going to build a deck around it. And then my little intro scene before the deck tech is absolutely going to be a scene from the movie Maximum Overdrive. If you know, and you're cool. Let me know in the comments. But next up, we've got Pedal to the Metal. Pedal to the Metal. Give all of your vehicles exhaust abilities? Maybe? I don't know. Could be anything. Road Rage. Is this just a new version of Monstrous Rage that can only target vehicles? Shoot me. Roadside Assistance. What are these names? I think they went a little too deep on the funny punny vehicle stuff. Roadside Assistance. Give me a break. I'm assuming that maybe untaps a vehicle or like cruise it for free just once, or I don't know. Maybe it untaps it when it's exhausted or something. Who knows? Who knows? The Speed Demon. The Speed Demon. I just hope it's a demon that's worth playing, along with some of the other demon tribal stuff. And it's probably also a pilot? A demon pilot? I'm down. We got Spin Out. Tap target vehicle. Do things. I don't know. Siphon Fuel. Tap target vehicle to crew another target vehicle. And that could be used as somewhat removal too. You could tap your opponent's vehicle to crew your own if you end up coming up against vehicles too and get extra value out of it. Something like that. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But tune in to AETHERDRIFT's debut at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 21st. Twitch.tv/magic. That's Pacific time. So it'll be noon, I believe, my time. Eastern Standard Time. I'm super looking forward to the official start of spoiler season. I'm absolutely going to cover it. We're going to come out of the gates. We're going to slam everything right away, man. We're going to hit the ground running right out of the gates, and we're going to cover everything. So expect to see those spoilers on the channel like as soon as they drop. I'm super pumped to see what this set's all about. It's not even the set I'm the most excited about seeing this year. I think every other set that's coming I'm actually more excited for than AETHERDRIFT, except for maybe Spider-Man. But that's a whole nother can of worms we're not going to open. But I'm still pretty excited about this set. I'm just excited to see where they go with it and what the core mechanics are and all of that stuff. I think there's a lot of opportunity for it to open up some interesting design space, even if the themes are a little wonky and corny to a certain extent. I'm still excited, so I'll see you guys there. Look forward to more. Please like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss an upload. And make sure you leave me a comment down below what you think about these teasers, and if there's any idea that you had that you came up with that I didn't come up with while going through these. Definitely let me know, and catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. If you're watching this the day it goes up, it's actually community night, so you can come on over, play games against me. We're going to have a good time. I'll see you there. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.